We begin with Judge Sonia Sotomayor today acknowledging for the first time that her wise Latina woman comment was a mistake. On the second day of her Supreme Court confirmation hearings, Judge Sotomayor declared she does not believe that any ethnic, racial, or gender group has an advantage in sound judging. But Republican members of the Senate Judiciary Committee appeared unconvinced that Judge Sotomayor has truly changed her position. The ranking Republican on that committee is Senator Jeff Sessions, and he said he is very troubled that Judge Sotomayor repeatedly made the wise Latina woman statements over a decade. Candy Crowley has our report from Washington.
A wise Latina could, more often than not, make a better judicial decision than a wise white man. Okay, she takes it back.
It was bad because it left an impression that I believed that life experiences commanded a result in a case, but that's clearly not what I do as a judge.
Seriously, it's not what she meant.
I want to state up front, unequivocally and without doubt, I do not believe that any ethnic, racial, or gender group has an advantage in sound judging.
I know it's been a long day, and we'll...
And so it was that Sotomayor tried to shut down the parsing of her most famous sentence. Not that that worked.
But do you understand, ma'am, that if I had said anything like that, and my reasoning was that I'm trying to inspire somebody.
Now, on some of the more controversial issues, when you look over the 17-year record of Sotomayor, there is very little to indicate how she might vote on the Supreme Court on issues from gun rights, immigration, abortion, and post-9/11 anti-terrorist policy. Whenever she was asked questions about that, Lou, there was sort of a standard response, and that is that she couldn't get into it because those questions might end up before the Supreme Court. Lou?
The Ginsburg rule, so-called, in full effect, and the political theater not only staged but somewhat stayed in the minds of many. Is that correct?
Yes, there's not anything that you and I would call fireworks. Not usually, even if everyone's really polite to the witness, they're kind of mean to each other. There is none of that. And part of that reflects really the Republicans' desire to make this a rather high-minded look at judicial philosophy without looking like the party of no, which Democrats try to tag them as, and without, frankly, without trying to offend or without offending what is a growing population, growing voting population, and that's Hispanics.
Thank you very much, Candy. Appreciate it. Candy Crowley, appreciate it. As Candy just reported, the judge today reversed course on her controversial remarks that a wise Latina woman usually makes better judgments than a white male. The judge said her comments were a play on words that fell flat, as she put it.
I want to state up front, unequivocally and without doubt, I do not believe that any ethnic, racial, or gender group has an advantage in sound judging.
The judge's remarks today might come as a surprise to many of her supporters who strongly defended her when the controversy first broke.
I don't have a problem with it. It's not it's not the right thing to say. It's not the right thing, but I don't think she meant it that way either.
All right.
I think if you look at the context of the longer speech that she makes, I think what she says is very much common sense in terms of different experiences that different people have.
I think she'll stand by the entire speech. The specific sentence there is simply saying that people's experiences matter and we ought to have some diversity of experience on the court, and I think that's accurate.
Her defenders abandoned today, and it is clear that Judge Sotomayor has retreated again on a key issue. Another big issue in the confirmation hearing today, the judge's position on racial discrimination, an issue that was highlighted by her position in a case brought by white and Latino firefighters against the city of New Haven, Connecticut. Judge Sotomayor ruled against those firefighters in an appellate court decision, but her ruling was later overturned by the Supreme Court. Inez Ferre has our report.
It's the case that's become a lightning rod at Judge Sonia Sotomayor's confirmation hearing.
Your decision in Ritchie versus DeStefano has become very controversial. People all over the country are tired of courts imposing their will against one group or another without justification.
Republican senators pressed her about the appellate decision on the New Haven firefighters case, later reversed by the Supreme Court. 20 firefighters, 19 white and 1 Latino, claimed discrimination after the city tossed out test results because no black candidates would have been promoted.
You've stated that your background affects the facts you choose to see. Was the fact that the New Haven firefighters had been subject to discrimination one of the facts you chose not to see in this case?
No, sir. The panel was composed of me and 2 other judges.
Sotomayor said the panel had based its decision on judicial precedent, and the Supreme Court based theirs on a different legal standard.
A circuit would be bound by the new decision of the Supreme Court. Is that correct?
Absolutely, sir.
One legal expert had this view.
I think she's spinning the case a little bit. I don't think that the case was clearly controlled by precedent, as she had suggested, and I don't think other judges that viewed the case saw it that way.
Sotomayor said the panel had followed a thorough ruling by the lower court. She said the case was not about quotas, not about affirmative action.
And Sotomayor was asked if she supports affirmative action. She said it should always first be a legislative determination. She also said that she hopes in 25 years race won't need to be considered in any situation, Lou.
The implication clearly then that it must be considered now. Is that her view?
Well, her view is that actually that in some forms, in some cases, race is considered, and that the courts have said so. But she said that that's to protect the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution.
All right. Thank you very much, Ines. Judge Sotomayor today repeatedly declined to give some senators direct answers to their questions. She defended that stance by declaring she does not want to prejudge any question that might become before her when she is confirmed as Supreme Court Justice. However, one of the country's leading constitutional attorneys, Floyd Abrams, last night said here on this broadcast that any Supreme Court candidate should be giving senators straight answers.
People who are up for confirmation are not as candid as they should be. I think we'd be a lot better off if senators would say, I won't vote for individuals who are up for confirmation unless they give straight answers.
After watching these proceedings, there may be an outcry to replace the so-called Ginsburg rule with the Abrams rule. Joining me now for more on that and other issues, our senior legal analyst, Jeffrey Toobin, author of the